Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining again today at Don's Rodeo Studio. I caught up with Stephen Nasse. Stephen, you had a great run at Cordell, man. Good to see you today at the All-American 400.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you be a part of the All-American 400 history for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what happened between you and Michael Hine over there at Cordell?
Yeah, it was just a tough racing deal. Michael, being a little inexperienced and trying to get that first big win, kind of just, I feel like, overdrove it a little bit. And the way that the track was driving on the entry to 3, everybody was fighting that, really. Even I was fighting it. And I feel like at that point in the race, he might have had a little bit better of a car than me, but I wasn't trying. We still had 70 to go, so I wasn't trying to run 100%. He ended up, like I said, just kind of overdriving it and then correcting it right into me. And when he did that, it just hit my left front tire, and our wheels touched. And as soon as that happened, something bent in the left front, and the car just did a complete 180 and wasn't near as good as it was. So unfortunate, but there's no hard feelings. I'm close friends with all of them, and I know he didn't mean to. It's just trying to get that first big win, and hell, we've all made plenty of mistakes.
That's for sure. And I'm sure it'll happen again. It's a lot of times these things aren't intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like on camera they might be intentional, but in reality, the driver's in there fighting that car, and you may be fighting a loose or tight. And I think both y'all probably had about 60 or 70 laps on those tires that were already on. So with that many laps on a set of tires, it's very easy for a car to lose its handle and get loose or get tight.
Yeah, especially around a track like Cordell. It's very wide, flat, and you're carrying a bunch of speed around there, and the car's got a lot of power. So trying to keep that tamed is definitely tough. And like I said, there were plenty of times I found myself getting loose underneath somebody, but it wasn't racing for the win, and my first big win, and that's kind of what the situation was for him. And I think he just got a little bit excited, and he apologized, and it happens. It's racing, and I've been on the other end of that, where I've been in his case, and I might have overdrove it a little bit, and it's not a good feeling in the car. I know he didn't mean to do that. It's just it's unfortunate. This is a second race in a row now that I've kind of gotten spun out or messed up by a younger kid, and it's getting frustrating. But now I kind of know what those guys had to deal with when I was young. So
Exactly. We all have to go through it. We're all
right.
young, immature, and we're all learning. And there's always something more to learn in this sport.
That's right.
Especially on the track and off the track.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what. We need to get more sponsorship involved in this and be able to make this where y'all can make this your career.
Yeah, definitely. There's you see a lot of good things happening with the Cars Tour, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting involved with it. And they already have a good deal because they're very local driven, like they run tracks right there in the Carolinas, and it's only a couple hour drive at most for those guys that race the series. We're a little bit more further out, we're here, we're in Florida, we're in Indiana, we're in Wisconsin. It's a little bit harder to keep up with. But I do think with the right backing, and if we get, somebody with, a NASCAR name, maybe a Junior or a Harvick or something like that, I think they could bring more of a fan base and obviously bring a bigger dollar sponsor. And you're always going to have those young kids coming through. Kevin Harvick's son, he's going to be coming through here soon. Right. I'm sure he'll get into a super late model at some point. Every NASCAR driver, most of their sons race in a super late model, from Chase Elliott running them back in the day, Ryan Blaney. You had all kinds of guys that were doing it. It was a stepping stone for a long time. I feel like it's kind of gotten away from that, which I hate, because there's a lot of stuff to be learned in a super late model. There's so much power. The power to weight ratio is just so much different from a late model stock to this or a pro late model. So I think it teaches you very good habits. And like I said, I think the sport could turn around if we got the right backing. There's a bunch of drivers that had their characteristics and the attitudes and everything to carry on a good sponsor and to attract fans. So I think it's kind of an opportunity that's being missed by a lot of the market right now. And if they could just get a little bit of that NASCAR knowledge and just the funding, but without all the corporation stuff, would be great. Because at the same time, we're all just weekend warriors, you could say. A lot of us are family teams. I would say probably 90% of this field, definitely the family is here and involved in some way.
Right.
So I would love to keep that part of it and not get into the super, political and business side of it like the NASCAR is, but we need to bring in some bigger sponsors that can, draw attention and get some more TV time and things like that.
Right.
Bigger
people
purses.
like me try to help that, get the word out, try to help get sponsors to come in, get the sponsors recognized, get them airtime, so that way they feel like they get something for their money.
Yep.
And try to help with all of that. Everything that I do here at Don's Rodeo Studios because I love the sport and what it's about. And I've been in the sport since I was a child, kind of like you.
Right. I think that's kind of what everybody's, situation is that I'm kind of getting to be the last of the dying breed as far as just wanting to race, a real racer, not using this as some sort of stepping stone to get to NASCAR type deal. Don't be wrong. A NASCAR career would be awesome. I just think it's a little bit too political, and it matters, who you're with, what you got, all that. When you come to super late model racing, it's grassroots. Like the best racers don't race on Sunday. They're
Right.
racing on Saturday night, unless it's a Sunday for All-American 400. But they're 3/4 of that field in Cup and all the Mother Series doesn't deserve to be there. Doesn't have the talent to be there. And who wants to watch it? But I do feel like there is a core racing fan base that is needing something to come through. I feel like the Cars Tour is tapping into that.
Right,
and then I feel like the Super Late Model could tap into that. We're the old school racers, and I think there's a lot of old school race fans out there. They just don't really have the product to go and watch. I think, between all the different series, they might not know who to keep up with. We need to kind of consolidate and get together.
Right.
And, put together something big. And it
What's
could
your
happen.
thoughts on the Arkham and Art series?
I mean, I just it's just turned into a bit of a joke. I feel like before it was kind of something to be in, and was a pretty good series about 10 years ago. But then ever since then, it just, it's all Venturini driven. That one team can win every single race, and they got, they bring 5, 6, 7, 8 cars to the racetrack with them, and it's very political. Like I said, it matters who you are and what you're bringing. And then them guys with their cars, they'll get through tech with stuff that if I come with my own solo car, I can't get through with it. But them guys can get through because they bring 8 cars. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They bring so much to the series. You can't really turn them guys down. And just like in that, there's some drivers back when Josh Williams used to race ARCA, quite a bit.
Right.
And he was a family team, kind of similar to what we're doing here. I grew up racing kind of with Josh back in Florida. And, the money obviously just shows. Josh probably is a better driver than a majority of people, not all of them. There are some good drivers that come through Venturini, but majority of them, he was a far better driver than, but he would struggle to compete with them, at the races. So I don't want to see this go in that direction by any means. I think ARCA could kind of do away with ARCA. This could be an ARCA in my eyes, you know what I'm saying? Just we don't need to go to those big tracks. It's short track racing. So
Right, exactly.
I think it's lost a lot of that, which has made it die completely,
Yeah.
Car counts, fans.
Most of us older guys like me and Stephen Nasse and some of the older guys like Sterling Marlin and some of the other guys, we all got into it because our dads or our fathers raced or was involved in racing somehow.
Yep.
That's where the history comes in here at the All-American 400. I know when I was a kid, my dad would take me to the All-American 400, and I would love to be a part of it. Never actually got to be in the pits to be a part of it until when I was pit crewing for Tommy Clymer. We built a car for All-American 400 and I was able to go up and help Joey Jones. And I don't even remember who drove it, but it was...
But it was a good weekend, and that's what racing used to be. It used to be, a lot of friends and people having good times, and there were still sponsors involved. It wasn't maybe quite the billion-dollar corporations, but people were able to do something, not completely, fall on their face as far as money goes. Because when you come to do this, there's no money being made this weekend. You're only losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'm just a small team. I mean, we have me, my dad, Tom, Mark, Greg, and Colin and Josh. And Colin and Josh just come in from out of town, and they're good buddies as well. So it isn't like, some of these teams do have 10, 12 guys that are, pit guys on their team. So it makes it tough to be able to get a little bit more money flowing into the sport. Purses get bigger, back when you were coming to this race for the All-American 400, it probably still was the same purse that it is today. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? It was
yes.
probably very close. It might have even paid more back then, and that's something that late model racing has lost as well. There's so many of these races that have kept this $10,000, $20,000 purse. Well, hell, those purses were there back in, you know, the early 2000s, late
Right.
2000s,
But
and
NASCAR
they ain't
was
changed.
involved in.
Right. Well, they ain't changed, but the value of the dollars, you know, went to shit, and we're all paying way more to come,
Right,
but we're not
exactly.
racing for no more money, and you know, so it's like somebody's pockets have been getting a little bit too lined in this late model world for the last 8 years, and I think that kind of needs to come to the end. You know, they've milked their money and they've made it all, but they have not increased the purses, tried sponsorships. You know, back when Hooters Pro Cup was going on, I mean, they had, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in their points fund, and all throughout the races. You know, they would pay $25,000 back then to win. You know, and we're talking 20 years ago.
Right.
So it's like something needs to happen there, and I get it. The fan count are a little bit down, but they need more promoters. They need to get better announcers. A lot of these racetracks you go to, the announcers are terrible. Who wants to listen to a boring announcer talk about the race?
That's true.
But then you go to like a dirt world. I mean, them guys are on the chip just as hard as the cars are, you know.
I know, right?
So it's like back in the day, I remember at my local track. I mean, the announcer was awesome, and that was one of the best parts about the race. Listening to a good announcer call it, you know.
Right,
and
right.
Nowadays, you got these guys that don't really even know what they're watching. They don't know how to explain it, and some of the things
Exactly.
they say, it's almost kind of laughable, you know. And it's just one of them deals where I feel like they could do a little bit better, and management could do a little bit better as far as putting the right people in the place for the job. And I think being more vocal about it, and I think I've been talking to more people about it. You know, we're gonna try to get to that point, and they're putting more people in the place to try to get that job done. But it's a long way to go. It might not happen in my time, but I just hope it happens.
Man, it's super great to have you on Doon John's Rodeo Studio and talking about this sponsorship stuff. We really need to get this stuff out to try to help the sponsorship and help the series grow, help the people grow, and help the drivers grow.
Yeah.
It'll help everything grow. It'll help the fan base grow.
Yeah.
Everything will grow at one time. It's just going to take a little time and a little effort. And I appreciate you putting in so much effort to try to do that.
Yeah, you know, it's not just me. There's other people that are vocal about it, but I'm just afraid that it might be a little bit too late when everything kind of starts to change. You know, they might lose guys like, you know, Roderick, Bubba, me, you know, real racers, Sauter, Craig, I mean, Ruggiero there. Well, he's going to go to NASCAR anyway. He's just another one that's going to pass on through. But the real core racers, you know, I'm afraid they're going to lose us before they really start to fix it. And if they do lose us, I don't know how it's going to be fixed, you know, because
I don't know how it's going to survive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think the sport needs guys like me and guys like everybody I just named to make it, you know, the longevity and make it last. So I just hope to see things go in the right direction, and you know, just talking about it is the first step. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of sponsors, we want to give a big shout out to one of my sponsors at Grand Old RV Park out there in Goodlettsville, man. If you need a place to, you know, park your camper, you know, while you're up here in Nashville.
Yeah. We brought the camper here. We're out of the campgrounds, and
be sure
might
to go
have to
down
check
there
it
to
out.
Grand Old RV in Goodlettsville, and be sure to tell them that Don's Rodeo Studio sent you.
Yeah.
And, if you're hungry, be sure to get down to Roadside Pantry with their great home-style cooking, man. I'll tell you what, it'll make your tongue reach out and slap you in the face and say, "Where you been all my life?"
Yeah.
Great food down there at Roadside Pantry. Also, if you need some tires, be sure to go to All Season Tires. Get your front end aligned, get your tires put on, or maybe an oil change, or front end alignment. Be sure to go see All Season Tire on Dickerson Road. Who you got sponsoring you today? Speaking of sponsors,
You know, we got Mitch Smith, All Star Performance, Brembo Brakes, Tate's Crab Shack, Spieler and Associates. They're Wabam. They do a great job of keeping the car clean. HD Graphics. They do a good job of making it look good. Strange Oval Axles, Hamke Race Cars, Swift Springs, Fox Shocks, Penske. Ernest. There's a lot of people that help make these cars go around that without them, you know, I don't think we'd really be here. And you got Jones Racing Products, sub-limited fire suits. There's a Bell Racing helmets. There's a lot of people that really help, lifelong racers like me stay in the sport.
Right, exactly. Thanks for coming on Goins Rodeo Studio. Good luck in
sir.
the race. Good to see
Appreciate
you out
it.
for the All-American
Thank you.
400.
Yes, sir.
Being a part of history.
Yeah.